Well, Jerry Schill, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us. I really appreciate it.
That's a pleasure, Jimmy. Good to see you and Happy New Year.
Yeah, and to you. So, you went private equity route in 2020, and obviously now this is a new process. What kind of happened for your company over the last 5 years where, we're now at this stage of the process for Schill Grounds Management?
Yeah, so we were really fortunate and to have selected an amazing partner in Argonne Capital Group in late 2020, coming out of COVID. Very people centric, very process oriented, and really believed in everything we had built up to that point. And we're excited about helping us continue to scale that business and continue the journey that we'd set forth. And they have been an amazing partner for us, and we've accomplished so much under their kind of guidance and support. And really appreciate the business wouldn't be where it is today without a lot of their help and insight along the way in our journey. But we're really excited now to have partnered with TruArc Partners out of New York. Also, a great firm, very aligned both with our goals and objectives in terms of the business, as well as the core values and our belief in our greatest asset is our people.
Yeah, so help me get a little better understanding of why companies recapitalize in the first place. And I'm sure you can only speak to what it's like for you, right? But also, is it just kind of part of the plan when you go private equity to recapitalize? Was it always part of your plan?
Yeah, I think, and I'm no expert in any of this. We continue to be really focused entrepreneurs and operators that run really good businesses, and I think that's been really a differentiator in our success over the last 5 years. But there are varying degrees and sizes of private equity or investor pools, and they've got return horizons, and also got their lending limits or their ability to raise capital or the amount of capital they want to raise before they make a return to investors. So the example I was given several years ago is think of it in terms of a bank, a small local bank, a regional bank, and a national bank. They all have their own kind of structures and portfolio design, if you will, and their return investment or return criteria. And it was time. Argonne did a great job of in helping us make the right investments in the business at the time that we needed to make them. And we're really excited about partnering with TruArc. Um, they bring with them a wealth of knowledge and a ton of industry experience and their ability to help businesses like ours that are at this size and at this point in time in the middle markets to continue to grow and scale the business and make the necessary investments at a much larger scale.
What's the process like for finding your next potential partner, right? Like, are you working with Argon or in that, I guess to take it back a little bit, like if you are starting the process, say 12, 18 months ago, finding your next partner, is it collaborative with Argon? Is it more so something that you're spearheading? Like, what does that look like?
Yeah, it always starts with people. So Argon, obviously, like we talked about, has been an instrumental part in our growth and our success up to this point. There was a timeline, kind of an expiration date, if you will, on when we want to start making returns to investors and kind of move on to the next, you know, with move into the next investor. So it was time. It's planned um, well in advance. We began starting about looking at relationships. Like we have investment criteria, we have partner criteria, the things that are important to us from both a cultural perspective, what are our core values. We want our new partners to align with those core values, and we want them to align with kind of our investment thesis and our goals to continue to grow the business and make the necessary investments that are required to kind of help us along that path. And you have the opportunity to meet with a lot of people over the course of the years. You're constantly talking to people, you're constantly evaluating fit, and TruArc just you know almost from day one rose to the top of that list. Everything aligned perfectly. They're a great group of folks. They took a lot of time and energy and put a lot of interest into kind of really getting to know us and understand us, and we did the same. And at the end of the day, that everything kind of lined up from a financial perspective, and from a goals and from a cultural perspective.
Let's talk a little bit about TrueArc and kind of their background. I know that they have some background in commercial services in the past. Can you take me through, obviously you're talking about relationships and those are super important, but what was it about TrueArc that really kind of made the difference to you in terms of like the business side of things?
When you think about partnerships, especially in the private equity world, there are different buckets where these firms make investments. And in this particular case, TruArc, which is a large organization, private equity firm, they have a group within their company that specializes in business services. And Brandon and Drew and Jeremy, who are on our deal team, that we've been working with intimately over the last several months to kind of consummate a relationship here, specialize in helping firms like ours, route-based businesses, very people-centric, um, technicians and trucks type of business models. They have a proven track record of being able to come in and help continue to professionalize the businesses like ours and give them the tools and the resources and the level of expertise that they need to kind of help kind of jump over some of the hurdles or the barriers and obstacles to growth.
Yeah, so
And,
let's
and
talk.
again, they've got that proven track record of having done that and have had several successful exits.
Yeah, excellent. You mentioned like those obstacles to grow, right? Like, how does this new partnership with TruArc, how does this affect your strategy? I know that you guys have been quite active in M&A over the last 5 years, especially it seems. Maybe that's just a perception, but it seems that way to me. So how does this sort of new partnership affect that strategy? Does it change it at all?
It doesn't, well, the only thing constant in our world is change, but it's positive change. We wouldn't be here today without the 1,600 frontline workers that we've got, within the organization. If we didn't have teams that went out and produced, exceptional work and did a great job retaining, top tier clients throughout the country, we wouldn't have any of this. None of this would be possible. We, as an organization, we remain very curious and very entrepreneurial. And when you're growing a business like we have over the last several years, and truly feel blessed and fortunate and humbled to have had the opportunity to do so, um, we've never run organizations the size that we expect to be in the next 5 years. TruArc has done a great job of providing the resources and the expertise that we will need to kind of help us evaluate what our organization looks like in 5 years and then strategically kind of helping us implement the game plan and making the investments along the way.
From the organic growth side of things, are some of those resources more based in like labor and HR, or are there other things that like TrueArc can kind of provide the company that, like you said, you're expecting to grow to a certain size that you haven't been before? So, what is it that they sort of bring resource wise to the table for you?
Yeah, I guess maybe the easiest way to think about it is think of a peer group. Like you belong to a peer group. There are firms that are smaller and firms that are larger, and you're able to go into these sessions or these meetings, develop relationships, and learn from their journey, learn from their mistakes. So kind of skip past some of the learning curve. That's what TrueArc really brings to the table, and it's not in any one specific area. We have the luxury, right, in the resources to go out and ask the appropriate people the appropriate questions, right, and help us kind of figure out not where we are today, but where we need to be in the next 3 to 5 years and help us make really thoughtful investments into the organization. Our primary focus is still around organic growth. We believe strongly in a business development, investing heavily in the business development team, and really focusing on the relationships that our account managers have with all of our customers, current customers in the market, as well as new and future customers through business development. Those are a few of the big things, but the most important piece for us has been our talent acquisition. We've got managers around the country that focus every single day, 100% of their time and energy into looking for talent. As we continue to grow the business organically and acquisitively, it requires people. So we're constantly making the investments and leading with people first, and then growing into the business that we want to become in the future.
Yeah, I think that actually lends itself nicely to one of my final questions here, which is like, in terms of the people, right, and the management teams, how do you think TrueArc, I guess like how do you think TrueArc's resources helps those managers and people who are already in place at the company sort of grow and develop within the new, I don't want to say new company structure, but where the company is headed?
Yeah, I think it's important for viewers or listeners, however this is going to be shared, to understand is private equity has no interest in running your business. If you're running your business and you're doing it well, private equity serves as a resource, a bank, a financial institution that is there to help you make the appropriate investments in your business, right? They will offer guidance. It's from a pull perspective. Private equity doesn't sit in the business. They're not involved day to day operationally, they're there as a resource for us to call on when it's needed. So they believe in our mission. They believe in the vision of the organization. They are huge advocates of investing in people. And when you do those things and you do them really well, really well, and you take care of your team members, they take care of your customers, good things happen for the business in the end.